Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Okay, today I am going to teach you chapter 3. In chapter 3, you are going to learn about teaching and learning vocabulary. In this unit, you are going to learn how to teach your student the vocabulary and how your student learn the vocabulary and word. Okay, please look at the content. You are going to study in this chapter. In this chapter, you are going to study interaction. The first point is interaction, and the second point is the key principle of teaching and learning vocabulary. How to teach the teaching vocabulary. The last point is techniques for vocabulary learning. How your students learn the new vocabulary. Okay, all of these are the three main points in this chapter, and each point has small points more. Okay, first look at the interaction before you are going to study the main or the heart of the lesson. Please look at the interaction first. Okay, look at point one. Students know a word when they can use it for communication. So as you know that knowing a word, it doesn't mean just recognize just how to know how to spell the word, just know how to do exercise, use the word doing the exercise like that. Knowing a word, it means you can use the word in all the four skills, in communication in all four skills. Okay, look at number two. The word vocabulary is usually an uncountable noun. So if we just focus only the word vocabulary is uncountable noun. We cannot say vocabulary or vocabularies like that. We normally just write like this, vocabulary. Okay, it is often used as a classifying adjective. Example, we say vocabulary game or vocabulary list. So the word vocabulary is used an adjective. adjective. This chapter deals with lexical words and phrase, not grammar word. So in the chapter you are going to know what is a lexical word, what is a lexical word or phrase, what is a grammar word. Okay, the vocabulary of English consists of two types of words. Okay, one we can say structure or grammar word. Example like the word and the much who that have is are. However, example of that are called grammar word or structure word. And one more is a lexical, or we can say content word. Lexical word or content word or phrases. Example like house, cat, dog, table, chair, where die of. All of these are called words, lexical words, lexical phrase or content phrases. Number 4. The word word refer to one word form associated with one meaning in a chapter. So the word is a countable noun. The word is a countable noun. Example like bank. Bank is a place for money, for keeping money, right? And one more, bank it means the edge of the river, the edge of the river. More the words can refer to a lexical item with more than one parts. And the lexical phrase. Example, the most common words have one part, but some words have more than one part. such as get up. So get up have two parts, get and up. Also we set up, get up. Yes, get dry off. There are three parts, for example. So this lexical phrase, we call lexical phrase that have more than one part. Elementary and lower intermediate vocabulary work concentrate on building core vocabulary. So in the element or lower intermediate level is the most important level that we have to build the core vocabulary. Okay, most school work early university and early university work with will concentrate on building up 2000 common word in secondary syllabus. So it means this in the elementary secondary school you have to study at least 2000 second words. So in these levels to know at least 2000 second words. It is because it's easy for them to enter the university. If the student who know less than this, it will be difficult for them to enter the university. Okay, 1400 words for lower secondary syllabus for all skills. So for lower secondary syllabus, student at least recognize can use 1300 1400 words for all the four skills. You can use this word at least 1400 words in writing, speaking, listening, and reading, and 1200 words for upper secondary syllabus. Okay, mostly for reading. So when they move up to upper secondary syllabus, they have to build up to 1200 word more. So before they go to university, they build up 2600 common words. Okay, look at point 2. Key principles of teaching and learning vocabulary. Okay, look at the principle of teaching and learning vocabulary. Meaningful practice is far more important for teaching and learning vocabulary than presentation. So teaching vocabulary do not just do the presentation, do not just show the word to the student, do not just tell the student the spelling, example like that. The most important is you have to allow your student to practice using the word or the vocab that you teach in all the four skills. The techniques is the techniques in the vocabulary chapter are more meaningful practice, but some can be used for presentation. So practice is more important. Next one, presentation. How do you present the word? How do you teach the new vocabulary to your student? How do you introduce the new vocabulary to your student? Introducing the student the form of a word and the meaning. You can introduce the form or spell the word and the meaning of the word. Teacher will probably use more than one technique to demonstrate the meaning of a word. So it's up to the teacher who teach the vocabulary to the student, so they can use more than one technique to demonstrate the meaning of a word. Okay, the way of presentation, the way of presenting a new vocabulary. Most of the words in lower secondary syllabus can be presented easily in these four ways. Okay. 1. Pointing to or holding an object. So when we teach the lower secondary We can say lower secondary schools, lower secondary syllabus. It is easy for us because we can use the pictures or we can use the real object. We can point to the object or hold the object and present them the word so they will know, they will understand what is the meaning of that word. Okay, one more you can showing or drawing a picture. So when we teach the new vocab, we can draw the pictures or show the picture to the student so they can understand the word easily and they can catch up and can remember that easily. This is the way of presenting the new vocab. And one more is demonstrate by doing mime or a real object. Sometimes we can use the mime or real action. Example like we teach the word duck. Duck, you walk like a duck, or we can make the sound like a duck. Or when we teach the word was it monkey example, you can show your mind like a monkey. This is all of these are the technique for showing or presenting the new vocabulary for lower secondary syllabus. And this all of these techniques are very popular for young learner. And one more is translating. So the last point is translate the word for them if they do not catch up. We can translate the meaning for them. This is the last choice only. But mostly we do not just write the word and write the vocab and then write the translation immediately like that. Cannot be. You have to present the word first before tell them the translation, the meaning of the word, the real meaning of the word. Students can show they understand a word using the same techniques. Okay, defining. So if you student understand the word, so they can define the meaning of the word. Okay, contextual like okay, using a word in a context would show the meaning. So you can ask the student to provide you the example that using the word there to okay present to them in the sentence and the real sentence by using their own idea. This is the way of measuring they understand the word or not. Okay, more context technique. So we can use context technique to present the new vocabulary. You use the what is a technique? What is a technique? This is a good one for presenting new vocabulary in context. Example here. Procedure. How to present the vocab? The teacher says several sentences that include the target words. Target word. These comprehension techniques. Therefore present vocabulary in a way that make students think and tell the teacher if the student have understood the word. This is the procedure, the process of presenting the new word. For example, if you want to teach your student the word factory, so you can give example. Factory is usually big. Factories are very dirty. Many people work in a factory. Factories are usually in town. So you just provide a simple example as you can by using all the word in all the sentence and ask them what is the word vocabulary. What does the word vocabulary mean? What does the word factory mean? Okay, the in factory people make things like a radio, car example, we can say clothes, something like that. Shoes. This is the way or the technique of using what is it? Techniques to present the vocabulary. Example like the word factory. Okay, one more. The concept question technique. We can also use this technique to present the new vocab to your student. This can be used to check understanding. Teacher asks question about things that contain in a new word. The students answer tell or if they have understood. Okay, so you teacher can ask you ask a teacher can ask many questions that using the new word that related to the new word that you want to teach your student. If your student can answer, it means that they understand the meaning of the new word. For example, is there a factory near your house? You want to teach your student the word factory, and you ask student question using question technique, concept question technique. What does the factory make? Does your father or mother work in a factory? Okay, so all of these are sample questions that we can use to ask your student in order to present them the new vocabulary. Okay, variation we can use this technique can be used as a revision technique by using a nonsense word instead of the real word. So we can also use a concept question to review the vocab that you taught your student already. Okay, let's see. Guess part of speech. Okay, besides they know the meaning of the word, you have to teach your student the part of speech of the word. This is very important. They have to know that this word is a noun. They have to recognize the word is a verb, adjective, verb, or something like that. Student can also guess the part of speech of the new word from its grammar or context. Okay, 1.4 matching technique for presentation. These techniques work best for noun because pictures are used. So we can use a matching technique for presenting the new vocab, especially you teach the vocab that is the noun because it's easy to use the pictures. Procedure. A teacher can choose 5 new vocabulary from syllabus to present. So in order to teach your student new vocabulary, you can choose 5 new vocab from the text you are going to teach your student. B. Draw pictures on the board to represent each word. So you can draw the picture, 5 picture, you can draw picture word, five, 5 words, you can draw 5 picture as well. A student come to the board, you can ask your student to come to the board and match the picture with the word. The teacher repeat the words again while the student point at the picture. If your student point to the picture, you can repeat the word so you can catch up with the pronunciation of the word. Then teacher repeat the words again and the student must point to the word and then to the picture. So you can repeat the word and then ask your student to point the word and the picture, which word that you are reading and which picture that match with this. word. A new student come to the board and the teacher start repeating the new word again. So when the first student finish, you can ask another student. Okay, please continue. Sorry for interrupting. Okay, so these techniques also popular for young learners and easy to teach them and happy to teach by using this technique. Teacher point to the picture and then get the student to say the correct word. So this you can change the technique. You can point to the pictures and then ask your student to read the word that mean to the pictures. Okay, number two, most technique can be used for vocabulary. So we can use a lot of technique for teaching vocabulary. This is done by drawing student attention to a particular word in a text or by getting them to work with list and group of words. So we can use a lot of vocabulary techniques. You can use a lot of techniques to draw your student attention. Do not just use the same technique again and again. The teacher should use grammar and vocabulary that students already know to use and practice new words. The teacher should also avoid introducing new grammar at the same time as new word. So when you present or when you teach your student a new word, must be sure that you can use the technique they use. You should use the grammar that your student already know. That easy for them to understand the meaning of the word and to practice the new word. When you want to ask your student to practice the new word, so it means to ask them to use the grammar that they already know. And teacher avoid using what when you teach grammar, do not teach new word. When you teach new word, do not teach new grammar at the same time. Correct? So when you're teaching new grammar, just teach the new grammar, and you can use the old vocabulary to introduce the students so they can understand. If you teach new grammar and you introduce the new vocab, so your students do not understand the grammar you are teaching easily. Or when you teach them the new vocab and you use the new grammars, so it's difficult for them to catch up and cannot draw your student attention. Number four, many of the vocabulary techniques can be done in pair and in group. So we can use techniques. We can teach your student by using what pair work or group work techniques. So it is easy for them it is easy to achieve. So they can understand the meaning easily. Student can learn a technique first in teacher or whole classwork arrangement, then do it in pair or small group to increase their practice opportunity. So after you introduce your student a new vocab, you can ask your student to work in pair or in small groups so they can share their idea, they can discuss, so they can increase their practice and understanding. Number five, new words should be quickly transferred to a wide range of topic. So we can use the new vocab, new words that we teach the student must. You can give a lot of example by using different topic, a wide range of topic, so that your student can understand how to apply it in writing, speaking, reading, example like that. Then associate new word with one topic. They can be used for most topic and situation. So you can provide sample with different topic with different situations, so your student will understand how to apply that in order for skill. They understand how to use the word that you are teaching them. Number 6. Vocabulary learning is the key to communicative language learning. Vocabulary learning is the key to communicative language learning. So, if your student learn the vocab, it is the key to communicate. So they can use the vocab that you are teaching to apply in a communication, especially in speaking. So if the student build up a lot of vocabulary, 1,400 in lower secondary and 1,200 in upper secondary, total 2,000, so that common English words, so they can apply in the communication learning, so they very easy for us to teach and easy for them to learn the language, so they can interact with the student, other student, with their classmates and with teachers. If they do not know or understand the vocab, so difficult to teach the language, or difficult for them to learn the language. The reason vocabulary has many good teaching and learning techniques. Word has meanings, so vocabulary learning is challenging and motivating. Successful grammar learning depends on good vocabulary. If they do not understand the vocabulary, do not know the vocabulary, so it's difficult for them to understand the grammar as well, and it's difficult for us to teach the grammar as well. And we know that the previous slides, it is said that do not teach grammar and new grammar and new vocab at the same time. It's difficult for them, for the student to catch up. If they do not build a good vocabulary, it's difficult for them to understand the grammar learning. Students can learn vocabulary without grammar, but not vice versa. So students can learn vocabulary without learning grammar. But the student cannot learn grammar without vocabulary, because when you teach the grammar, you need your student to practice their grammar. They have to use the vocabulary. That is interrelated. But we can just teach the grammar without teaching. But we can teach a vocab without teaching grammar. Example, we just teach them the word apple. No need to use grammar. A good vocabulary knowledge helps students guess from context. If they have built up, they have a lot of knowledge in vocabulary, so it is easy for them to understand the text they are reading. If you read a text that has a lot of difficult words, so you won't catch up and you will be bored, and then you throw that book away. Something like that. Meaningful repetition is essential for successful vocabulary learning. So when you teach your student the new vocabulary, do not just only teach one day or one time and then stop teaching them forever, so they will forget that vocabulary. Unless we have We are teacher repeat or review the vocab that already taught or already learned. So we review the vocab as often as possible so they can remember the vocab. If you just teach them only one time and then you never review, they will forget the vocabulary. Giving students lots of variety out of context. You can ask them to use the vocab that they already learned by using our context technique. Making sure students meet the word often in comprehension and have to try to use the words for writing and speaking. So you have to review your student the new word or the old words as often as possible. In comprehension, trying to use in writing or speaking. The teacher used the new target word often in her own room. Engage students to take responsibility for building up their own vocabulary by showing them technique and games and they can do out of school and give them the resources. So we can motivate our students to build up their own vocabulary. You can give them some technique to study at home or some game for them to practice doing at home, this outside school, anywhere. They can learn the new vocabulary anywhere. You can give them the source that they can learn. So they can repeat or they can review the word by themselves outside of school. Number 8. Students learn English quickly if they learn through both in context and out of context technique. Last one. So we can teach the vocab in context or out of context technique by using in context or out of context technique. For example of an in context technique. For example of an in context